is Get Valiant.
It is Get Valiant number 193, talking some Shadowman number 3. But before we get there, I'm Hoosier.
I'm Eric.
And sadly, Josh couldn't make it today.
Yeah. You know, that whole having a family and being responsible thing gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah, it's kind of what can prevent some shows from happening some days because all of us are busy and doing something. Or usually we've done pretty good for the most part. So we apologize, listeners and viewers.
Things happen. We're getting to this one a little later than expected, but definitely stoked to talk about Shadowman number 3. Ever since Cullen Bunn took over the character, it's been a lot of fun to read and talk about. This creative team has been really awesome, so definitely stoked to talk about this issue.
Absolutely. I mean, last month we had a couple of books because we had The Visitor. We talked about the end of The Visitor, which was really cool. And then this month we're getting, this Shadowman was out in June, so it was the week after The Visitor. Nothing so far this last week and this week of Valiant books. And I think next week is Ninjak number 1. And so that's pretty cool. Getting a little Ninjak coming around the corner soon too.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have they've sent out like early review copies of Ninjak number 1. I, per my usual, have avoided reading it because I want to read it right before we get a chance to talk about it. So I haven't taken that opportunity to dive into it yet. I did look
to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what I'll have to say too, to be honest with you. I'm not sure what to expect.
Yeah. I read it. I'll leave it at that. And Then I think when we look at solicits coming up in the next couple of months, Exo Manowar's coming back, and Shadowman will be taking a little bit of break after number 4. I don't know how long of a break, but yeah, we're getting the September solicits came out with a Ninjak number 3 and Exo Manowar number 6. And then August as well is Ninjak number 2 and Exo Manowar number 5. So one more issue of Shadowman number 4, which is going to be July 28th, the last week of July. So hopefully Shadowman's not put away for too long, and kind of run from there. But I don't know if there's been any other news. I know Greg Katzman teases like he's excited about what's to come, but that's really that's it. Like, he's being very cagey there, but he's hopefully we get some more stuff coming around the corner of future Valiant items to come. So I know
one thing that we got to see is the uncolored version of Dexter Soy's Exo Manowar number 7 cover, and I absolutely love it. Seriously, like, it looks amazing. I am a huge fan of that Dexter Soy cover. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can hop onto the Valiant page on Facebook. That's where I just looked it up a little bit ago and was looking at it again, and it's phenomenal. I'm sure it's in the Valiant Comic Fans Facebook group as well. I'm sure they posted it on over Twitter and whatever other social media pages they have. I'm not really on other social media sites besides Facebook, but that Dexter Soy cover for Exo Manowar 7 is looking amazing. I can't wait to see it colored. I'm really curious to see who they get to color it, because I think the right colorist on that thing could really take it to another level.
Yeah, I think it could be a pretty cool image, to say the least, of some things like that. I think that's what you're referencing.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I think that looks so cool. And if you look up of Dexter Soy stuff, like, he has got this really dynamic and kinetic style. Like, it feels like his pieces are in motion. He's done some really cool work for other comic book companies, and everything I've seen from him has looked amazing. So I'm hoping personally, as a fan, that Exo Manowar cover is not the only Valiant work we see from him. If we could see him doing some more covers, like whenever Bloodshot comes back, I would love to see him doing some Bloodshot covers. And then even cooler, he's also somebody that I would love to see on interiors on a Valiant book, such as whether it's Bloodshot, Exo Manowar, Ninjak, any of the action-y heroes. I think he would do really, really well with. So the Killers, that would be amazing to see his work on that. So yeah, I think that he's a really, really talented artist, and I really hope we see more from him as far as Valiant work goes.
So Dexter Soy. So Scott Bloom, thanks for jumping on. Yeah, I'll have to look him up. I do like that. I think it looks pretty cool. It's pretty, I don't know, like it's got like a cool like old vibe feel, I mean, kind of like 90s is what it reminds me of. Like it would go good with a foil cover.
Oh yeah, sure.
Down for that. So yeah, I'd give it the Bloodshot number 1, 1993, I believe, kind of, just give it a foil card. That'd be awesome. So,
I'm sure it would look pretty sweet.
I'd be down for that. So, yeah, but I think, there wasn't a whole lot of news other than that I could think of in the last couple weeks or month or so. But that we got Shadowman number 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the books don't come out as often as I personally wish they did, but obviously we will take what we can get, and I'm happy to talk about, the books that do come out. Yeah, Shadowman number 3, the biggest thing for me, I think the biggest standout for me,
but we have to do it. I mean,
we have to do it. We have to do it. Spoilers are coming.
Do it. I mean, we got to do it. And it made sense to do it right there. Hold that thought. The thing that stood out the most to Eric, spoiler alert, the spoiler alert. So,
no, the biggest thing that has been the standout for me, as much as I love the writing on this series so far, honestly, the art has been phenomenal. Like when we got to show that early look at a page from this issue, that was really cool. I really appreciate that we had the opportunity to kind of leak that page early. But that was a perfect example of what's so great about this issue. Like the way Shadowman is drawn, honestly, I think this is my favorite depiction of him that I've seen so far. And that's saying a lot because he's always looked really cool. Like the Magpie was awesome in my opinion. But I think just
the characterization of him, but he was kind of a wuss as Magpie, but I agree. Cool.
Right. He's not my favorite version of Shadowman from a character perspective, but just like the character design of Magpie is really cool.
Absolutely.
And the character design here is even cooler than that. So huge shout out to the art team here, John Davis Hunt, Jordi Belair. I just think that this has been so well done. And then, so art is top for me. And then the story was really cool. Like I was saying before, we got some really cool story moments. I thought the pallbearer was pretty fucking awesome. I thought that was really cool.
I thought it was pretty interesting, right? So give that shout out to Colin Bunn, John Davis Hunt, Jordi Belair. Letters was Clayton Cowles. Some pretty dang cool covers. John Davis Hunt, Tyler Kirkham. The homage cover with Erica Henderson, and then this what we're showing here with Robbie Rodriguez. Some pretty damn cool looking covers. And I do want to get into this next slide because it shows you that character of Shadowman you were just talking about with the way he looks awesome. He's updated. He's got just the fist covered like he's ready to beat some ass. And then just that like walking shadow flames that are there is kind of a cool element that was added. And it's kind of like, listening to John Davis Hunt talk about it is like, like Shadowman's like always in the shadows, and that's like the shadows actually follow him. And so that's kind of the idea of it. And I don't know. I just love it. I think it looks phenomenal. And this cover is just badass. This was one of the first images that they showed of John Davis Hunt doing Shadowman. This was one of the teaser images that I remember seeing at first. That I remember Robert Myers was like, if you can guess the artist here, you know what I mean? Like, and John Davis Hunt, I think phenomenal. on this. So score 1 for that.
Yeah, that whole the shadow flames, as you call them, that is something I hope sticks around. Like, we haven't really seen Shadowman interpreted in this way before, but I really hope that that is something that future artists hold on to and continue developing, because it looks so fucking cool. But yeah, these covers are amazing. I love the homage covers. I think that's such a cool idea. And I've just been a really, really big fan of this book.
Yeah. And then going back to your previous point, this pallbearer character did look pretty damn cool. You know, I mean, we've already spoiled it. It's kind of like he's here, though, and gone. They introduced a bad, and it was pretty quick work. I mean, I think Shadowman made quick work of this this new bad that came around. So but these blights keep coming up everywhere, right? From Barcelona, and then part of this book, I'm going to take pause and you know, takes part in Port-au-Prince, which Port-au-Prince actually, you know, I wish them all the luck. They just had a assassination on their president, very movie-ish style. Supposedly, it was a group of highly trained mercenaries that came and killed the president of Haiti and mortally wounded his wife. So, yeah, since we're talking about Port-au-Prince here, I felt it was only appropriate to acknowledge that of that country and Haiti, of what they're going through. Kind of sucks, but very interesting. Hope to hear more about what's going on there.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about fiction stuff here, and that sounds like something out of a comic book.
Right.
Not the kind of thing that happens in real life.
Right. But yeah, ultimately things keep happening. Things keep getting moved in a weird direction with Shadowman, and he's going after it, and he's getting attacked, and just some amazing art here too. So yeah.
So yeah, these like red spirit things that you're seeing end up being like the like little, what does he call them? Little nasties or something like that. The pallbearer calls them, and then he calls himself the big nasty.
Right.
So the way that Shadowman kind of deals with him pretty quickly reminds me of something that Josh kind of brings up a lot. Valiant has this habit of introducing cool looking, or, you know, just cool in general characters, these villains, and then just dealing with them really quickly, and then we never see him again. And that's unfortunate, but at the same time, I liked the fact that we got this story of, you know, Shadowman dealing with the pallbearer happening in this one issue, because it didn't feel like it was just dragged out and like overdrawn just to fill up pages. You know, it felt like this character showed up, Shadowman figured out how to deal with him, took care of it, and was ready to move on. You know, and I thought that like made a lot of sense from a storytelling perspective, and it made me happier to read that as opposed to, like I said, like having something that feels like it's just dragged out to fill the pages. That felt like a natural progression. And speaking of Shadowman dealing with the pallbearer, the way that he did it by like releasing the Shadow Loa and then them combining again afterward, that was so fucking cool. Like, that's something we don't see all the time on every, you know, in every issue of Shadowman. But I thought that was really, really awesome, the way that that played out.
Yeah, I do like the way that they're playing together a lot with his Loa. What is his name? Kuki Kobaman. How do you say it? Dang it. He's got a really cool name right now. God, I'm brain farting on that. But it was this element of something is basically capturing Loa hunting, really. And it's got a good reveal at the end. That was probably one of the coolest things of this book, was that reveal at the end. Think we can. Yeah.
Oh my God! Biggest spoiler of all spoilers. Yes, that reveal at the end was phenomenal. I like audibly was like, oh, when I read that.
Yeah. It was an interesting turn to take this book, right? And I think that was, to me, I don't know, that was it. That was cool, because I thought that was a damn good turn to have on it. So
Dude, okay, I'm just gonna say it. That this issue reveals at the end of the issue, hopefully, we've already given the spoiler alert. Hopefully everybody has read this issue already. This issue reveals that the dead side itself, just as there are lesser Loas and whatever Loas like the Shadowman Loa who ride people, this issue reveals that the dead side itself is a Loa that rides the earth, and like how it's such a crazy thing. Like I don't know how. I'm at the same time I feel like how in the world did Cullen Bunn ever come up with that? Yet simultaneously, how has that not already been in every Shadowman comic ever? Like how is that? Like that just seems so obvious, but at the same time, like such a crazy thing to come up with. Like I don't know how those two things work together, but I feel both of those ways about it, and that's really cool.
Bosu Kablamin.
There you go, Bosu Kablamin, or whatever it is. Yes,
yeah, dig it. Yeah, dude. But yeah, that the dead side's actually Loa, and it's riding Earth. Like, what an interesting tale. What an interesting, yeah. Where that came up is very, like, I agree, very, very interested on how that came about or what the big picture is there. It totally changes a huge element, like thought of the dead side.
Yeah, like that changes everything, right? Like, and having like this idea that the dead side itself is this gigantic world-sized entity that is feeding off of the earth and almost like a parasite, and it's the dead side itself wants there to be more blights so that it can take over the world, kind of thing. Like that's really, really cool.
Yeah, it is, but it's a weird element to where if they defeat this Loa, this dead side, like, does that mean the dead side's over? Like,
I know, yeah, that's
so
correct.
Yeah, I guess it makes me think about like what that could do to the future of the dead side, the future of like, I don't know, all of it, right? And if the dead side's gone and that's it, like, does that mean that there's further Loas of doing whatever, right? Are we going to get more Baron Samedi? Are we, you know what I mean? Where is it? What could happen with this? Does it take away, Shadowman? There's a lot to be there. So, yeah,
like it opens so many questions, and I think that's like I'm with you 100% there. Like it definitely opens. Oh, there's that page. That page is so cool. Yeah, it opens up so many questions. Like this could go in so many different directions, and that's really exciting. Like I feel like Cullen Bunn has just done such an amazing job. And speaking of like all the cool stuff he's done, like on Punk Mambo as well, we, like you had mentioned earlier, talking about, how part of this book takes place in Haiti, we got to see Joseph, one of the characters from the Punk Mambo book. And, we're seeing like this interconnectedness of the Valiant universe that I know I spend a lot of time talking about as a fan of Valiant. That's one of my favorite things, having the universe feel like everything is connected and all works together. And I think that's really cool to see characters from, a different book, whether it's written by the same writer or not, doesn't really matter to me, but just having characters from another book that, had a different main character, seeing these side characters show up in yet another title, like that to me just like promotes that interconnectivity that makes the Valiant universe feel, real and accessible. And like, Valiant is one of my favorite things in the world because it is this like world outside your window with a little twist, just a little bit different. And like having that connectivity, like, because we all say, how many times have you said in your life, like, what a small world it is because it's weird coincidences, people that you run into that in weird places and things like that. Those things happen in the real world, and having that happen in a Valiant comic just makes it feel real, makes it feel connected, and makes me that much more invested in the books that I'm reading, because I know, like, this book I'm reading now and the characters being introduced now have the potential, and there's the real possibility that there's going to be a payoff when they show up in another book and they interact with another hero or another villain or whatever the case may be, and it just makes it that much cooler, and it's another level of reward for being someone who reads all the books and pays attention to everything that's going on. So that's really exciting to me. I mean, Colin Bunn has done a really good job with this book from that perspective and a lot of other perspectives. So this just is a great read.
Yeah. And, it's like I wonder if it's moving quick. It seems like it is moving quick. Having issue number 3, we already got this big story of knowing that the dead side's covering the whole earth. We had a quick villain of Paul Bearer. He's here. He's gone. It makes me wonder like how long this story is going to be told, right? Because I mean, I could see that this story could have been shortened or could have been lengthened. Right, it could have been a lot more of these blights coming out, and then a little bit more battle within this pallbearer with the last couple of villains and the issues that have kind of gone on. They could have been drawn out a little bit more. So I think it's moving really quick as far as the story's really progressing to a degree. But there are some things that are interesting here that are happening off panel. The kind of going back into Haiti, and you're seeing. One of the Madame Claudette or Madame Clarence who's got killed, and it ties in that story with Joseph, and it makes you wonder. Like, I wanted to see some of that. I wanted, hopefully that there's more of that story to be kind of told back, and hopefully we get some Punk Mambo in there, because the last time we saw Punk Mambo, her and Joseph were doing a little brown chicken, brown cow, and it really. I don't know. There's a lot happening off panel, but the continuity of having those characters, like you said, of having the kind of tie-ins, the little connections from one story to the next story, make the world rich. And that was one of the things that got a lot of people into Valiant, was having a very like inclusive world where it was accessible. When it was 5-6 books, I know we're crying over 2, but the smallness of it was what made it really good, because it was accessible. You didn't have to buy 30 Bat Family books just to get what's going on in the Bat Family in 1 month. You're getting 5 books, 6 books a month. And so I know that 6-8 is kind of the sweet spot that I would like to see them back at. But even with 2, you want these stories to connect. You want that integrated continuity. And this did it from Punk Mambo, which was a book that came out like a year and a half ago, and it still had a little connection, which I appreciated. And that's why I hope we keep Colin Bunn around. I hope that we get some more Dan Abnett doing some stuff, and we keep having these little connections of continuity to continue to happen with Valiant, because that's what I find it fun. So,
yeah. The word that comes to my mind is impactful. If we're only going to get 2 books a month, the stories better mean something. I don't want just fluff, right? Like, there's space for fluff in the DC line. There's space for fluff in the Marvel line. Mm-hmm. There's no room for fluff in the Valiant line right now. So getting a book like Shadowman, it makes it feel worth it. It makes it feel worth it to hang on, to continue reading, while Valiant kind of figures out where they're at in the market, and hopefully we're going to see them expanding in the future. But they're kind of finding their place and doing what makes sense for them right now. And putting out a couple books a month, you have to make sure you're putting out the right couple books a month. And this definitely feels like the right book for them to be putting out. Obviously, like you mentioned earlier this episode, we're going to see a break. Shadowman is going to, it's not, number 5 isn't going to come out a month after number 4, unfortunately. But hopefully that doesn't mean that Shadowman is done. Hopefully that just means, like Exo Manowar, we're going to get a break for a little while another book comes to the forefront, and then we'll be right back in with Shadowman when the time is right. So that's what I'm really hoping for. I know from talking to Greg, there are a lot of things in the future that he has said he's really excited about. Obviously, he's extremely limited on what he's able to tell us, so we don't really know anything, but we know that he's excited, and we know that he cares a lot about the Valiant universe. I can confirm that 100%. As someone who cares a lot about the Valiant universe, from the conversations I've had with Greg, I can tell that he does too. And knowing like how excited he is about what's coming, that makes me excited. That makes me confident that good things are on the horizon. And like I said, as long as we keep getting books like Shadowman between now and whenever the next big thing is, whenever the next big expansion happens, like I'm still going to be holding on. I'm still going to be caring about these books. I'm going to be reading them, and I hope that you are too. I hope you're pre-ordering these books at your local comic shop, and picking them up on when they come out, and enjoying the stories as much as I've been. I mean, kind of something that is being said in the live chat is Scott saying that this is one of the best things of Valiant this year. I definitely think that Shadowman is a huge bright spot for Valiant right now. I think that this book is exactly what they should be doing, and I think it's being done really, really, really well.
Yeah, it has been a really well done book. One I wanted to ask you a question is this weird tentacle-looking floating thing. Didn't really get explained too much on what that damn creature is. That kind of covers a guy's head and slits his throat and tells Baron Samedi a secret that we don't really get to see or hear. But that's kind of what reveals that the Loa is riding the earth, the dead side. So that was a weird creature, and it gets killed off right away, and we don't really so much as even give it a name.
It's just another Loa, I think. It was riding that guy, and he got decapitated by the pallbearer, was my interpretation of what happened. And since that guy got decapitated and the pallbearer killed that Loa or injured that Loa fatally, Shadowman had to go take care of the pallbearer, and then he came back and heard the secret that the dead side is the Loa riding the earth, which is so fucking cool. Like, that's such a cool concept.
But what the hell is Samedi's play in this game, man? Like, that's the part that's the biggest question is, where is he play in this? Especially if, something happens to the dead side and it's trying to rule all the Loa, right? Like, because we know that, And then, like, looking up for Madame Brigitte, like, what are going to happen with some of these other Loas that are around, too? Where are these big, powerful ones like the Pantheon and just, many questions to asked, yet to be answered, but yet entertaining, yet moving along the story, and Shadowman's badass.
My ideal scenario would be this culminating or like building towards something big and having a bunch of these characters like Shadowman and Punk Mambo and Dr. Mirage and having a bunch of these magical and dead side related characters, even Ninjak, because he's been involved in the dead side before. Having a bunch of these characters come together and deal with a gigantic threat, such as an Earth-sized Loa in the dead side. I think that would make such an amazing big event. I would love to read that story. I think that'd be really cool. And whether that's Cullen Bunn writing it, which I would love, or someone else taking the reins, I think that would be a really cool story to read.
Yeah.
So this issue, for me, phenomenal.
Let's take it to class. What's the grade?
Oh, man, you're doing this grading thing. I'm so used to like 1 to 5. So to me, this is a really, really solid A. Like, it's not quite there to like be like that A+, whatever, like some of my absolute favorite issues ever are. But this is a really solid A. Like, it's right there where you want to be. This is at, the head of the class, the top 10th percentile easily. And, this is what, a lot of the books, any of the books coming up can aspire to be. Like, if Ninjak is this good of a story, I will be pumped. If EXO comes back and is executing at this caliber, I will be absolutely ecstatic. If we get Bloodshot back and it's this good, I'll be completely satisfied with that.
Harbinger coming out.
With the Harbinger coming, if that's this good, again, I'll be really happy with that. So this is exactly this is as good as I want anything to be. And if anything ends up being better than this, great. That's awesome. That's amazing. but anything being this good, I'm really happy with. Like, this is exactly what I want to be reading. This is the level of quality of comics that I expect from Valiant, and I'm happy that even when their line is smaller than we might want it to be, they're still executing at this level. That makes me really happy and really glad to be a Valiant fan and to be experiencing this.
Yeah, I'm not going to come in as hot. I'm going to say A minus.
Okay.
Like I say, part of it is just like I feel like it's like, again, moving really quick. There's some story that I feel like could be left on the board, some good action times, some more details. But that's the kind of sometimes the secret of a horror book is the mystery, right? Of playing that realm, and some things happening off panel that I wish were on panel. But this art is phenomenal. The story is great. But yeah, I'm gonna say it's an A minus, solid A minus for me. One more issue. Let's see where this arc goes. Let's see what's to come with this Deadside now riding the earth, and what's gonna be there, what's gonna change. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what's the next step? Like, what possibly could be the next step?
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. And obviously, we're not going to see like the next issue wrap up with some complete conclusion. So that makes me really excited for what is going to be the next step after issue 4. Obviously, I want to read issue 4. I'm really excited for that, but I'm already looking down the line of what could be on the horizon for Shadowman, and I hope that we get more.
Yep, absolutely. And then welcome on the chat there, the comic board. Go check those guys out. They do a cool little show with a lot of comic reviews. Some great guys with Blackpool and JT and Dano. So some good stuff there with those guys.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then Ariel Largo. ¿Cómo estás? Welcome to the show.
Glad to have you.
And Scott Bloom. He's being our great ambassador. So thank you, Scott. Yeah. I think there's a lot to be coming around, right? And in a couple of weeks we got a brand new Ninjak. We'll wait to see what happens with that. I'm really excited for Jeff Parker on board. He's done some great stuff with 007. Which ties perfectly into Ninjak. I mean, I think the only other thing that you could do with Ninjak is if you had a Batman, right? But I mean, that's pretty much Ninjak is. He's a Batman 007, and so that's a good tie-in. So we'll see what happens with Jeff Parker. Really pumped up for what he can do with a good story there, and then see what we can find with the rest of it. And hopefully we continue to have Colin Bunn getting some stuff ready. But we know Exo's coming. We know the Harbinger's coming. And hopefully, I know we want Bloodshot back, but I want to continue on the Shadowman story. And I still want to get – I mean, there's a lot to pieces. And a lot of it, like you said, is not the fluff. Like, we need Bloodshot. We need Exo. We need Shadowman, this story to continue to happen. And we know Harbinger's coming. We know Exo's coming back. But we need Bloodshot. We need Rye going again.
Eternal Warrior.
I loved what that was. And we need Eternal Warrior. We need A&A. Like there's just so much that like gotta have. I want them all. You know what I mean? I'm gonna quote Pokemon, man. You got to catch them all, and we got to get them all each week. That would be phenomenal, or each month at least. So right. Hopefully the publishing line picks up because I mean COVID restrictions have lifted, shops are open, shops are selling comics, and it seems like they're for the most part shops are doing pretty well despite the previous restrictions, and hopefully we can get a lot more stuff coming.
Fingers crossed, my man. Fingers crossed. We'll see what the future brings, and we'll be here for it, and we'll read the books as they come out, give you our honest thoughts on them, and hopefully Ninjak is good. Hopefully the Harbinger is good. Hopefully Exo Manowar comes back strong. And yeah, like you said, can't wait to see Bloodshot come back. I really want to see more from Eternal Warrior. We definitely need more of this Shadowman run from Cullen Bunn. That would be phenomenal. To keep
Scott throws this up, and Scott, I agree with you, but I don't want that in replacement of one of the other ones that we've mentioned on the shelf.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah,
I do want
love
that. I do think that would be great. But with Bloodshot, Exo Manowar, all those guys on the shelf, like I would say I'd pass on that book because you got to get those other ones up.
Sure.
But
I just want the good stories, and if that means that we get, a young teen hero book with those awesome characters, Jesse and Animalia and Tama and whoever else,
they could be the new Gen Zero.
They could be the new Gen Zero. Animalia is such an awesome character. Like, she is so like mature for her age and like so cool.
Well, she was the one military trained. Like, that was such a cool story of Bloodshot that really brought that out with those Psyots. You know what I mean? Being trained by Project Rising Spirit, and that was it. Like, that was some good storytelling, and I really think drawing off on some of that is going to be very, very key, because we still got the Zygos twins out there too. Who knows what the heck those two are doing? So there was a character that may have died or may not have died off page that maybe we can see. And then you got Alpha that was left with Harbinger. Like, there's so many rich stories, and who was the other? He was Toyo Harada's understudy, and he was the big bad in that Harbinger. Solomon, yeah. So two lots of big ones. So I'm hoping that we get a lot of that, and then maybe we can get some of those side stories or some of those other build-ups to bring it on. So.
Yeah, 100% with you. Can't wait to see what the future brings. Hopefully we do see an expansion of the line from Valiant sooner rather than later. But even if we don't, as long as we keep getting books as solid as this Shadowman book, I'll be happy.
Yep. Absolutely. Be happy as well. So, a couple weeks, we got Ninjak, so I'm ready to see something new on the shelf. But I don't want to see something else taken off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you there. I'm definitely with you there. Well, hopefully Scott comes back. We definitely love hanging out with Scott, talking about these comics. On the comic board, we'd love to see you come back as well. And Ariel also. And anyone else watching, listening, definitely would love to, have you join us while we stream these live and have your voice be part of our conversation as we talk about these Valiant books. I'm definitely happy to hear from other Valiant fans that are reading these comics and invested in this world like we are. And, definitely want to hear from as many people as possible and see what Valiant has coming for us. And just thanks everybody for watching, for listening, for supporting us, for supporting Valiant. And hopefully we'll see you all next time.
Yeah. And if you're not staying Valiant, you should get Valiant.
And then stay Valiant.
That's right. All right, Eric. It's been fun. It's been real.
Always awesome hanging out with you, Hoosier.
Yep.